Before I get into this part of things, I want to kind of go back. So 3 years ago, this channel's just in its very infancy. Um, Couple hundred subscribers, and very early on, I had a rapport with some of those, couple of hundred that kept coming back and watching my videos. And it was at that point in time that, I was really, um, personally, I was at a low point, but it felt like there was some hope that things were going to get better, and this interaction I was having with subscribers and the fact that the numbers kept going up said, you know what, Shannon, maybe there's something in this. So at a time where other people said that's not going to go anywhere, you might not want to bother with that. I decided that it absolutely could go somewhere, and that I was going to keep doing it, and here we are 3 years later. Now, a year ago, um, there was the bus accident involving the Humboldt Broncos, and of course, it became this huge media frenzy, and still has been in Canada. And I do think that there have been times where there have been reports on it that we've watched, and I thought, man, just let people heal, just leave them alone, just leave them be. And there is an intersection between the two, and that one of the first subscribers that I had that I interacted with on a regular basis was Brody Hinz. And I didn't know anything more than his name was Brody Hinz, and his profile picture, his avatar on YouTube, was the logo of the Humboldt Broncos. That was it. And yet, I had reasonable comments and discussions with him, and you know, I will debate with people where somebody will say, well, I think this team is better than that team, and if I disagree, then we can have a debate. When it's just an all cap shouting match and it's all this, I shut it down and I say, no, this isn't going anywhere. One of the biggest issues we have in society right now is that people are just shouting at each other and nobody's listening. So as long as we're shouting loud enough that we can't hear the other side, we're not going to learn anything. And I do my best not to fall into that trap. Um, which is why recently, just watching news and hearing talking heads on both sides have said, you know what, hell with it. I can't do this anymore. I can't. I don't trust any of y'all. I'm done. Now, in the midst of all this, so you've got the constant media barrage that goes on every day, and you add in this tragedy. And then where does this small channel fit in? Well, the channel's grown quite a bit, and Brody was part of that. He talked a lot about myself and the channel with people. And, it is the word of mouth for people who are subscribers to this channel who've shared this channel, have gone, you know what, you should watch. And every now and then, it causes things to blow up, usually when it's shared on Reddit. I'll see a big blow up of my numbers for, a couple of weeks. I had one day where I gained over 500 subscribers that day, and the whole day I just looked at my phone going, is this real? This has got to be a mistake. And it was that somebody had shared it on a Reddit group. So those really make big differences, and they have helped get me to this point where I have a studio where I can talk to you fine people every day. And, and part of that is the subscriber base that's been built, and especially the core ones from the start, that without them you don't get to that point where it gets to 78,000 subscribers. And the comparisons with Steve Dangle are always interesting because I always hear them. Here's the thing: when I started out, Steve Dangle had, I think it was 45,000, maybe 50,000 subscribers, and I had 1,000. So what I used to do was I used to say, "Hey Yvonne, I'm up to 10% of a Dangle," which meant I had 10% of the subscribers that Steve Dangle had. Now the numbers are a lot closer than they were back then. But I always thought it was funny to, hey, I'm at 15% of a Dangle. That's strange, isn't it? And to anybody outside who would hear that, they'd be like, Shannon's at what? Now, on April 27th, we're going to have the second annual Brody Hinz Memorial. Now, I've talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit again. We are having this at the Pitt Meadows Arena Complex Center in Pitt Meadows. Be strange if it was anywhere else. So it's not far from the Golden Years Bridge, if you know your geography around here well at all. And it's going to be at the Fiat rink. So it's not at the same rink it was last year. It's at a far rink, but that rink, what's nice with that is it has your own entrance. So we're going to be able to have signage out front. Yvonne and I are talking about working on signage. And for people who want to help out and are like, geez, I don't have a lot of money, that's fine. If you're like, I want to come out and play, but I can only give them $1, that's fine too. Because this is about the community that's been built by the channel, and Brody's part in that, and the fact that his name is attached to the Humboldt incident. It's I would like to see it attached to this as well. So I'll contact Vancouver Media. I don't think Vancouver Media is going to end up showing up, but you just never know. And then if they do, this thing the following year kind of blows up. That's kind of how I figured this would work. The first year, you get a small amount, and then as the years go along, it grows into something bigger. So that eventually, instead of people saying, oh, he was one of the people who was in the bus in Humboldt, people are saying, oh yeah, they have that tournament with his name on it every year. Who was he again? And that's where I think the narrative should go. So yeah, we've got the insurance all done. We got everything all signed. There's 5 pages of stuff here. Basically, you're not allowed to bring your own food into the building. They've got concessions. We're not allowed to blow up the building. That's against the rules. And there's a waiver here that basically means if your head falls off when you come in the building, it probably fell off before you got there. We don't know what happened. There's no alcohol in the premises. You guys know all these rules, right? Dressing rooms are available 1/2 hour prior to the commencement of the term. Dressing room keys can be found on the wall of the dressing room. Does that mean the dressing room keys are inside the locked dressing room? That's the only part of this that I'm looking at going, But I'm very grateful that Pitt Meadows Arena Complex Center is doing this again. I don't think we're getting charged as much as people normally would for this. And Brody's, there are family members of Brody's who are coming in for this. We had a couple last year. We have more than a couple this year. I know there are people flying in. I know there are people who want to be there. And honestly, there will be a live stream during it. There was last year. There will be again this year. I don't think anything's changed with the Wi-Fi in the building, and the Wi-Fi is pretty good. So odds are there will be a live stream during the event. And with the amount of people, it looks like we're going to have probably almost double the number of people we had last time. At least I think so. Depending on how many come out that are interested, right? It's going to have to be more along the lines of a tournament. And I don't think three teams are going to do it. Unless we have line changes and all that, and we might. But it runs from 9 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. So at least that's when I have the building. So we're going to shut the game down at probably like 12:15. That way we're all out of there in plenty of time so that they're able to get the building. And then after that, Yvonne's talking about maybe going to White Spot in Langley, which is just over the Golden Years. And we can decide where we're going to go. We'll probably have it all figured out before we even get there. Sometimes that's the way it works. We have these meetups, and I know I've posted videos on here of, the hockey part, but sometimes we're planning where we're going to go after right near the start of it. Like, all right, so we're going to play. You're going to be tired and sore, so we're going to want food. So what kind of food are we going to want for us doing this crap? So I'm looking forward to doing that again. And I made some real friends out of this process last year. The Brody Hinz Memorial led to a lot of other meetups, and it was really fantastic. And it helps me as much as it helps subscribers. It does. I've had people tell me that it's helped them, and it helps me just as much to get out of the house and to get that exercise. And, you know, at the end of the day, go, you know what? I jogged around for about 3 hours and I still feel pretty good. All right, that's pretty cool. That's fun. So yeah, we're gonna do that again, April 27th, like I said. And if you want my wife's phone number, it's not, no, no, no. But yeah, we're gonna be, we're gonna do this, and for people who want to come in, and we don't make any money off of this. It's just it's a good chance to meet up with people and foster a community out of this. And with his name on it, I think Brody would have approved. I do. But hey, you know, come out if you can, and if you can't, that's fine too. And even if you can just sit and watch the live stream, everything helps. Because if the live stream does really well and it gets a lot of hits, it gets a lot of views, it gets promoted by YouTube, which then means that the next one's going to be even bigger because it's going to draw more attention to the channel. This is all kind of how that works. So thank you guys so much for all your support. As per usual, when I'm talking about this, no monetizing of this video will take place. And I'm very grateful that you guys have supported the channel and helped to get to this point. And yeah. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. And to those in Humboldt who might watch this, I really hope that on the eve of annuals and all this, I really hope the media just buggers off. There's a time for the media to just go away. And yeah, just you don't need to revisit everything. And I think what makes it worse for us is that it very often looks like they revisit it just because it gets attention and views, and not necessarily because it's newsworthy. And that's where it gets kind of tricky. Is there very often when I watch the news, and this is part of my recent disillusionment, is that what's actually news doesn't get reported on. And yeah, that's when it gets tricky. But anyways, enough of that. I shall step off my soapbox, and I shall talk to you again soon. Thank you guys so much for watching.